Brother Rodney Hinton Jr. stands all the way on FBA business. He's now filed a $25 million civil lawsuit against the police department, judicial center, and others. He's saying that his civil rights were violated, and I could believe it, and that he suffered and sustained injury while in police custody. And degenerate race soldiers did inflict some kind of injury and, beating upon our brother, because race soldiers ain't gonna never miss out on a good opportunity to inflict pain on black life. And he's also saying in this lawsuit, our brother Hinton, that his when the police showed up to his court hearing in full force, that was to show and put fear inside of his heart through intimidation, and that was done to shift the court of public opinions. And I believe it, because they only showed up there, all of them racist white race soldiers, to get our brother through fear and intimidation. It didn't work. He had his chest, poked out and his head held up high. He looked at him in the eyes, so the intimidation tactic didn't work. That was done to, get the public to, rally against our brother, to make him look like some crazed, cop killer, without painting a picture in his full totality that, race soldiers took our brother's child. And when you lose a child, you never know how you'll react to that situation. But this right here with our brother Rodney Hinton, standing all the way on business like that, that's going to be normal protocol in FBA society. If a race soldier want to get out here and unjustly take one of ours, we taking one of y'all. That's going to be normal protocol in black society, because black people, as a whole, we're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and we ain't going to let you keep coming, in black society and unjustly taking our people, without there being some consequences to pay for that, and if the justice system ain't going to give it, the so-called justice system ain't going to get it, we going to produce justice at our own hands. We going to play judge, jury, and the executioner. And now I got the audio and the video of our brother Rodney Hinton, standing all the way on FBA business, and the Black Panther Party for self-defense, showing up to, rally in support of our brother, which I respect, and, I salute all day, every day. And we're going to walk through it and talk about this thing how we normally do, family. Fair use.
Rodney Hinton Jr., who is accused of intentionally running down Deputy Larry Henderson, filed this 5-page civil lawsuit on Thursday. He did so himself without an attorney. Hinton says his civil rights were violated. I looked through the complaint. The defendants include the Cincinnati Police Department, the Hamilton County Justice Center, and 10 unnamed officers and deputies. Hinton claims excessive force used by police during his arrest resulted in him having physical injuries. He also focused on
they used excessive force. They was beating our brother and everything under the sun, to put fear and intimidation in his heart, especially for the things he's accused of, and being a black man, because 9 times out of 10, in a racist white supremacist system, black people are never really truly given justice. In fact, we guilty until proven innocent, when it should be, innocent until proven guilty, So I don't respect that, nor do I rock with it. They were just beating on our brother, and trying to, brutally, inflict fear in him, and it didn't work. Our brother standing on business, standing on truth to power, and, he ain't backing down in the face of adversity, because most of the times when race soldiers take black life, they expect the family to just cop out to some settlement, this, that, and the other. Now, brother Rodney Hinton Jr., he's setting a new precedence in black society that if you take one of ours, we're going to take one of yours by any and all means necessary. And if the court system ain't going to produce justice for black people, which 9 times out of 10 it doesn't, we going to get justice and play judge, jury, and the executioner. And let's continue.
on this. Hamilton County deputies packing the room for his arraignment on May 3rd.
Good morning, Mr. Hinton.
Hinton claims that coordinated presence was, quote, clearly intended to intimidate. On Monday, protesters gathered.
That was meant to intimidate and, to get the public to rally against our brother. But black society, for the most part, we on code and we stand in solidarity and unity with our brother Rodney Hinton. We got his back, but let's continue.
On the steps of the Hamilton County Courthouse, we were there as the Black Panthers and other groups voiced support for Hinton.
We sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Prosecutors say Hinton targeted Deputy Henderson after watching body camera video showing a Cincinnati police officer shooting and killing his son. Authorities say 18-year-old Ryan Hinton was pointing a gun at an officer. These protesters say they didn't see one in the footage.
They don't see.
Nobody seen a gun. With these racist white race soldiers do 9 times out of 10 is they, fabricate some bogus story that a black person, had a gun, was resisting arrest, posed a threat. And all this is done, to, fabricate some, false narrative as a way, for them to unlawfully and unjustly take black life. Sadly and unfortunately, they use these bogus claims all because they want to, in fact, take black life. And I don't rock with that, nor do I co-sign or endorse it. Ryan didn't have no gun. That was just an excuse for them to lie and say he had a gun, for them to take black life. But, with this situation, it didn't go the way as planned, because brother Rodney Hinton, on the other hand, he was standing all the way on business, so he ain't want to sit around and wait for this thing to play out in the court system, because 9 times out of 10, it's a reoccurring scenario that black people are never given justice in the so-called justice system. So if the so-called justice system don't work, we gonna start being the justice system and producing it ourselves. But let's continue.
Ryan being shot down unnecessarily as being what caused uh, Rodney to respond in the way that he did.
Iris Rowley with the Cincinnati.
And I see it all the time. White people, white males, white people in general, pointing guns, disrespecting police, and not a hair on their head is harmed. They still, brought in the police custody, with no resistance, police not having to use force, beat them, shoot them, this, that, and the other. They still brought in the police custody after they point a gun at a police officer, without a hair on their head being harmed. So this shows that police know how to exercise restraint when they do. This goes to show you that they don't value nor give a damn about black life. 9 times out of 10, black people are just shot for retreating, reaching for a wallet, this, that, and the other, and white people, on the other hand, they get to run amok, operate with impunity, point guns at officers, and that shows you them racialized standards that exist inside the so-called justice system. It's different judging mechanisms between white people and black people, and I don't rock with that, nor do I co-sign or endorse it. But let's continue.
Black United Front watched on Monday. She says the city has championed police reform and policy in the past 25 years, but she says when it comes to Ryan Hinton's case, there's still work to be done.
We're waiting to see preliminary review of the video footage. We're looking at all of that. It's all to be reviewed. We do not have all of the facts yet, and so we are awaiting that.
In Cincinnati, Valerie Lyons, WCPO 9 News.
But in closing, I want to say, our brother Rodney Hinton Jr. ain't done, nothing that any normal good parent wouldn't do for their child. You know what I mean? Black folks are tired of, our youth being unjustly taken, and stolen from us at the hands of no good racist white race soldiers. So this is normal protocol from here on out. If the so-called justice system ain't going to produce justice, we standing all the way on business, and we going to make sure that we produce justice for our own. So big shout out and salute to my brother Rodney Hinton Jr. for standing on business and free our brother. And if the justice system ain't going to produce it, black society, we got to start being judge, jury, and the executioner. Peace.